Guys, what's up? Darcy here at Six Strings Nine Lives. It's a little over a year ago. I did a video entitled 10 of my favorite newer live metal albums from the year 2000 to the year 2021. You know, overall, I wouldn't say I'm the biggest live album guy. I'm more of a studio album guy, but I do enjoy a good live album. And got me thinking, and I've had a few requests for what are some of your favorite live albums of all time? And so today I picked 10, and it was tough. I mean, I've left off some really good ones. So that's why the title will be 10 of my favorite. But today, this one will include my favorite live album of all time, which I'll make sure I point that one out to you. But this list could go on for another, I would say maybe another 10 to 20 for sure. And maybe we'll continue it. But today, just open up the discussion like we always do. Throw down in the comments some of your favorite live albums of all time. Yes, there's going to be stuff missed that, but point it out to me. You know what? These are just 10 of my personal favorite live albums. And now I'm saying back because a lot of these are older. And back when a live album was just, it wasn't a marketing gimmick. It was, it was just awesome. And whether things are touched up or crowd noise is added, this and that, I don't give a shit about that. This isn't a studio album. It's, supposed to be a live album. And if it has some embellishments, big deal to me. So let's get rolling. I'm going to start off with my personal very first live album. I did have it on vinyl back in the day. Who knows where that is anymore, but this is Kiss Alive from 1975. Definitely making my top 10 and a big influence on my, I always say Kiss was a real gateway band. They touched on metal for sure, more hard rock, whatever, it doesn't matter. But these are, for the most part too, these are where the songs, they come alive. No pun intended, but a lot of these songs just sound way better than the studio versions. High energy stuff, but here's my original cassette. You know the track listing. A lot of these, I don't have to review them as what's what, but I mean, songs like Deuce, Strutter, just fantastic. Come On and Love Me, Cold Gin, Rock and Roll All Night. But that was my very first. And out of the two, which if I continue this list, I could easily throw this on there too. But I guess the reason, I'll give you the one reason I love this one a little bit more than Alive 2, is Alive 2 for me, the big draw, one of the big draws is that side 4, that studio side 4 with all those great songs like All American Man and Rocket Ride. But overall, we'll pick this one. Kiss Alive from 1975. Let's go with, okay, here's a band, and I'll flip-flop. I got some vinyl, some cassettes, I got some CDs. Here's a band I'm not going to say I'm not the biggest fan of, but I do not collect all their stuff or feel a need to, because I feel, for me, discovering these guys later on in life, that this album has everything I need for this band, and that is UFO, Strangers in the Night, Michael Schenker, and we got Pete Way, and who else? We got everybody, all the Paul, Andy, I'm just trying to think of all the band members. But anyways, just a fantastic live album. High energy, just flawless, produced by Ron Nevison, and I think this one actually, assistant engineering is by Mike Klink, and you know that name from Guns N' Roses fame, also with Megadeth, Rust in Peace. But anyways, great tracks. Check out just anything off of here. And again, if we're talking about a lot of these bands, you already know this album if you know this band, but Doctor, what else? Lights Out, Rock Bottom, Shoot Shoot. Fantastic live album from UFO, 1979. And yeah, like I said, that's really the only one I personally need in my collection. They do have some great studio albums, don't get me wrong, but that one, if I'm ever feeling for the need to listen to some UFO, that's what I go to. Next up, let's go to, now I did not discover this band until probably 1982. So this one became a favorite live album of mine because I actually discovered the Scorpions a little while after this one came out. Worldwide Live, which is fantastic too, and would probably make a top 30 list of mine, but it does not beat this one for me. This is Tokyo Tapes from 1978. Last to feature Uli John Roth. So there's songs on this from all of their first 5 albums. You know, some more than others. I think there's only one song on here from their debut, In Search of Peace of Mind. But this, to me, is just one of those live albums, again, that the live versions outdo the studio versions. And I'm sure you know exactly what I mean, because there's going to be quite a few that I'll show you where that would be the case too. And just remember, guys, too, this is just a small sample size, and I'm trying to just stick with one album per band. And like I said, if we expand on the list, you'll probably see some more from some of these bands for sure. But yeah, let's go with like Pictured Life. Great track. We'll Burn the Sky. Speedy's Coming, which is off of Fly to the Rainbow. Top of the Bill. Steam Rock Fever, fantastic. He's a woman, she's a man. If you are into the Scorpions, and even if you're not a live connoisseur, I still say check this one out. And yeah, do some of those comparisons of, is that live version track, better than the studio track? And for some cases, for sure, way more energy, things like that. All right, let's jump over to one of my all-time favorite Canadian bands. Still need to pick this one up on vinyl. And this is one band where you would see, definitely on this list, if I was expanding this list, you'd see this band probably at least 2 more times. But this is 1976's Rush, the band is Rush, All World's a Stage from 1976. Just a fantastic live album. Rush is just a great live band, period. For their first, quite a few albums and live albums, they kind of followed a pattern of 4 studio albums and a live album, then 4 more studio albums, and then another live album, which their second live album, Exit Stage Left, which easily could make this list, expanded list. Totally different track listing too. They didn't just focus on one thing and carry over those hits. They did in later live albums. You would see stuff like, Closer to the Heart on every live album, which, you got to have the hits. But for the first couple, they did not do that. But just a great live album. Anthem, my favorite, and I get for most part, for 2112, I'm kind of a bigger B-side fan. I love the B-side of 2112. And one of those tracks that they do live on here is Something for Nothing. Top notch. Bytor and the Snow Dog. In the End, great live version of that. Working Man, What You're Doing. If you've never heard this live album by Rush, I encourage you to go check it out. But if you are a fan of the band, I'm pretty sure you already know this one really well. And I had mentioned Exit Stage Left. That would definitely make my expanded list of that if we continue that. I gotta stop saying that, but I think we will continue this in another video too. But coming up next, here is a band that actually is releasing a new album this week. called All Hell's Breaking Loose. But this is just one of those fun bands that I listen to. This is from 1984. This is Raven live at the Inferno. High energy is pretty much what Raven is. I mean, even to this day, they still, they just seem like they're just absolutely having a blast on stage, still playing live. Like I said, brand new studio album. I think it's their, geez, now I forget, probably 15th maybe studio album. You'll definitely see that on my channel. Definitely do a little bit of a review on it, stuff like that. But here's the track listing, which is very hard to read, but we got some greats like Mind Over Metal, Crash Bang Wallop, Star Wars, Wiped Out. Just, yeah, if you can see that photo on the back, it's just, that's pretty much that's been a Raven live show for years. So this is the original lineup with John and Mark Gallagher and Rob Wacko Hunter on drums. One of my favorite lineups and one of my favorite periods of the band. So there it is, live at the Inferno. Sorry about the glare, I should have pulled that out, but if you like some Raven, definitely check out that one and their new album coming out this week. All right, next up, and you're gonna see, you know, some absolute favorites of mine, which you're probably gonna know quite a few of these. I featured this one just a little while ago in a box set review of Black Sabbath Live Evil, but this is definitely in my top 10 right here. And like I said before, in no particular order, but huge Ronnie James Dio fan. And how about this cover? Actually I did not mention that in that video, but this is one of my all-time favorite album covers, period. And so this is the, what did they call it? So the 40th anniversary remastered. Sounds fantastic. This set also came with a remixed version of this album, which to me even sounds better. Yeah, the crowd noise complaints, again, like I said, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's still a fantastic live album. This is Black Sabbath firing on all cylinders live, but you know the favorites: Neon Knights, Children of the Sea, Voodoo, The Mob Rules, Heaven and Hell. Of course, a couple of Ozzy era songs on here done by Ronnie James Dio on vocals, which they did fix that. He on the old version, he just said Ronnie Dio, so that is fixed, so that's pretty cool. But definitely one of my all-time favorite live albums right there. Now let's go with now here's one that I would say, if you want to check out early material from this band, I would say do not skip this. This is one of the, again, obviously it's on my list today, one of my favorites, but it's just so high energy and fun. This is Saxon, The Eagle Has Landed, live from, what year is this one from? This is from 1982. So this would be on the tour for Denim and Leather, which, you know, oddly enough, the song Denim and Leather does not appear on this, but this is the first album to feature longtime drummer Nigel Glockner. Just top to bottom, Motorcycle Man, Strangers in the Night, 747 Story, Princess of the Night, Strong Arm of the Law, Heavy Metal Thunder, absolute metal anthem to me, Wheels of Steel, and this closing off the version of Machine Gun. Yeah, like I said, just high energy, having a blast. And this is when these bands, they went on stage and they just gave it their all. Fantastic. So if you're wanting a little Saxon and you missed this one, get on it. You won't be sorry, that's for sure. Next up, there's a couple that you know are coming. But here is, I always say I got a lot of favorite bands, but in the just traditional heavy metal, Judas Priest has been my favorite band for years and years, but I could easily put Priest Live on this list also. I enjoy that one. I like that The set list is fantastic on Priest Live, the whole crowd noise, the atmosphere. But for me, it just doesn't quite beat Unleashed in the East. And whether vocals were touched up and whatever, again, I don't give a shit. This is fantastic. This came out in 1979, so this would have been the Hellbent for Leather tour. That's what it was called. We know that the album, in the European album was Killing Machine, and I do have that version of that studio album, but here in North America, it was Hellbent for Leather. So this was recorded in Japan, like I should have mentioned, but a lot of these, quite a few of these were recorded in Japan. Just the crowds are fantastic there too, but the track listing on this. I'm going to give you a couple highlights on here for me. Sinner is fantastic. The cover song, Green Manalishi. But I think my favorites on here are Victim of Changes, of course, is just a classic. And Opening Up the Gates with Exciter. But just, this was metal. And just looking at this picture with Rob on the cover, right there, dead center, the leather, the studs, just love this live album right here. Judas Priest, Unleashed in the East, 1979. Leaving a couple of more, and I'm going to show you my favorite out of this bunch, and it might surprise you, but this album was actually released in 1990, but it's of a 1985 show and tour. But this is my favorite live album of all time. So if that's ever in a quiz, what is Darcy's favorite live album of all time? Here it is. This is Accept, Staying Alive. Very glossy cover. This is a Music on Vinyl reissue, but this, and I said earlier of whoever I said was firing on all cylinders, this is Accept at the top of their game. Absolute, just flawless live album on the Metal Heart tour. Recorded in Osaka, Japan, 1985, but wasn't released till a few years later. Like I said, actually it was released a year after their Eat the Heat album with David Reese on vocals, but for the most part, this is the classic lineup, of course, with Peter Baltes, Stephen Kaufman, Wolf Hoffman, Udo Dirksnyder, and George Fisher on guitar, which, either it's George or Herman Frank on second guitar. It doesn't matter to me. They're both fantastic. But this, pretty much check out anything on here. There is, I don't think there's any tracks off their very first album, but you have such great albums like Breaker, Restless and Wild, Balls to the Wall, and Metal Heart, and all represented on this album. Fantastic live. The version of Balls to the Wall on here is fantastic. Fast as a Shark, just a top-notch track. And some really cool songs from Metal Heart, which I do love that album too. Up to the Limit, Living for Tonight. Living for Tonight. What else we got? And the title track, Metal Heart. But yeah, go check this one out. And if you can still get this one, grab it. Like I said, I'm a huge Accept fan. I'm a huge UDO fan, and anything that Udo Dirksnyder puts his hands on, I usually will buy. And they're another brand new, they have a brand new studio album coming out August 25th entitled Touchdown. Kind of a stupid title, and the cover is pretty silly, but whatever. It's Udo, it's UDO with Peter Baltes back together with Udo Dirksnyder. He has joined that band full time now, so that's pretty cool. Last today, and probably you knew this one was coming. One of my all-time favorite album covers too, but here is Live After Death. High energy. Every song is great on here. and a classic case of songs actually to me are better on this than the studio versions. Not that those are bad in any way, but and Bruce doing one of my favorite from the Paul Di'Anno days, and that is Running Free, which I do have the 7-inch single here from this tour and album, and they're Running Free with Sanctuary. But yeah, pretty cool. Highlights on here, almost every song's a highlight, but Revelations has always been one of my favorite Iron Maiden tracks live, and good to see that they did it again on this the tour before the Future Past tour. But yeah, Flight of Icarus, Rime of the Ancient Mariner, they did the whole thing. What an atmosphere listening to that live. And Children of the Damned, Die With Your Boots On, which they don't do as much live anymore, but just a great track. Like I said, every track fantastic. Love this album cover. But hope you enjoyed this one. These are just 10 of my favorite live albums. And like I probably said too many times, probably something I will continue and dig into some more of my old favorites. And for the most part, yeah, these are all older bands, older albums. I don't know what the newest thing in here would be 1985 maybe. So ranging from 1974 to 1975, just some great hard rock and metal that I enjoy. And yeah, if I want some live albums, these are 10 of my go-tos for sure. So let me know in the comments some of your favorite live albums of all time. Always appreciate you guys chatting with me. And until next time, stay heavy.